putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about President Trump winning and the left recognizing it. And I left off talking about the trade negotiations. Trump has said, I'm not even worried about the U.S. Department of Commerce and Secretary of State. He goes, I'm going to go to China. I'm going to bring back a $250 billion trade package, business to American companies. I'm going to get the Chinese to give us something else, a concession that nobody can argue about. So they reduced tariffs on 183 different products. And our trade deficit with China has been cut significantly from $350 billion to whatever it may end up being. 150, 200 billion. It will be a significant cut. Guarantee you. Significant cut from our $88 billion trade deficit with Japan. Significant cut to our $56 billion trade deficit with Mexico, and so on and so forth. And then he's going to increase the products that go from the United States to other countries. Just watch it. I could go on. But Huffington Post says that Donald Trump is winning, and this guy writes this. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to write and admit. Trump is winning. In the brief space of a week, he won a brief court fight to shove Mick Mulvaney to head the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Mulvaney wasted no time in unhinging a spate of consumer protection rulings, regulations, and personnel hires made during the Obama years. That was one of the biggest things that Donald Trump did that will go unheralded, because he essentially undid one of the most crooked organizations, something set up by Elizabeth Warren, and he undid it just like that. Now, the capitalists can go back to doing business as usual, which isn't bad necessarily, because we have consumer watchdogs. But this one was unchecked, and it was doing nothing except promoting Democrat. You wonder why we were selling lunacy. That was one of the organizations that was doing it. The guy goes on. It's SCOTUS pick. Neil Gorsuch eagerly cast a vote to impose a Muslim travel ban. His EPA head, Scott Pruitt, delivered a couple million acres of public monument land to the West to oil, gas, and coal industry developers. Trump busily continues to pack the federal judiciary with a parade of ultra-conservative, strict constructionist Clarence Thomas and Antonin Scalia clones. God bless him. Yes, he is. He's doing all of that. And it was the same travel ban as Barack Obama gave. The EPA, Scott Pruitt, not only is he giving away millions of public land back to the places that own it, they actually own it, the people who can be the best conservationists, but he's also erasing some of these stupid EPA legislations that have hamstrung all of the industries this guy's talking about. He switched gears, he says, and backed alleged pedophile Alabama Judge Roy Moore in the Alabama Senate race, who will almost certainly win. The RNC, which is particularly declared Moore a pariah, quickly jumped in and said it would back him. So I love this part. I got to finish it. He got another sweet perk when Senate Democrats turned with a vengeance on Minnesota Senator Al Franken, virtually ordered him out of his office. His subsequent resignation got a pesky thorn for Trump. Franken had a big voice, lots of name recognition, popularity, and was not afraid to take shots at Trump. Next, he says he poo-pooed the guilty plea of his former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn as no big deal while shouting, no collusion, and got away with it. Let me just say this, folks. Have a hearty laugh. I love how the leftists see President Trump's accomplishments. Losers are now seeing what winning looks like. First of all, Judge Moore is not guilty of anything. There's not a person alive that can prove any of the allegations. This is a Democrat witch hunt that's now been exposed. The RNC jumped on the bandwagon. You want to know why? Because they saw once Donald Trump was going to support Judge Roy Moore, they better get off their establishment GOP butts and get in on it. And as far as Al Franken leaving, good riddance. Al Franken left because Al Franken is nothing that they describe. He was not the giant of the Senate. He was not going to be the next president, and he's a laughing stock. Take all the shots you want, Al Franken. Nobody cares. He will be a footnote in history, an SNL comic who cheated his way onto the Senate. Consider the dichotomy, folks, as the left lament all the bad, and I'm using my finger quote, decisions by President Trump, yet their lives improve dramatically. Right? Try to rationalize how bad things are as your job improves, as your savings account, your 401k grows, as you have more free time to enjoy the country. At some point, the realization kicks in that you've been lied to. And the left better fear that more than they don't fear God. So here's what he goes on to say. He got his tax heist for the rich corporations through the Senate, and as an extra bonus brought his long-held dream of dumping the Affordable Care Act closer to reality when the Senate tacked on a provision to the bill wiping out the mandate requirement. When the markets took another tick up, he crowed even louder that he was the man who brought the good times rolling to America. As always, he did this with the sheepish connivance of much of the mainstream media, which is always off to the races and giving round-the-clock coverage to his self-serving, vapid tweets as if they were the word from the mount. Gotta stop it there and say, God bless this man. He is telling the left exactly what's happening, except it's in bizarro world. See, all this is great. What he just said there was Trump's tweets work. The press run to cover Trump's tweets. If you aren't following Donald Trump's tweets, you should. You should. It's like a status report every morning. It's like the military where they go, all right, you're out in formation and they say reports, and you start giving Alpha Company, all present and accounted for, sir. Bravo Company, 1 in sick bay, 1, blah, 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 1 person on personal leave. Charlie Company, Delta Company, Echo Company, it's reports. He gives you a report of everything that's going on. To things that you're like, there are people that read Donald Trump's tweets and they go, God, this dude is so on point. I don't know if he's tweeted about her, but he'll probably, it wouldn't shock me if he said, hey, Lindsey Vonn, really funny, you weren't going to represent me at the Olympics. Well, it looks like you're not going to represent anybody. It'll be things that you think are ridiculous. Hey, Colin Kaepernick, it looks like you're going to be able to play in arena football the coming year. But it's all needling, but it's all things that are getting people's attention. It's so funny. Here's what was really cool. He then says, Trump's biggest win, though, has come on 3 fronts. One is the GOP. It can rail and curse him publicly and privately, but it needs Trump. He is more than the titular head of the GOP. He is the point man for the GOP policy and issues, and in a perverse way, the spur to get action on him. I love this part because what he's telling you is Donald Trump teaches Republicans how to win. They either could get with the program or get run over. Even the bonehead leftist who authored this piece sees that. He realizes that it's one thing for Trump to be a winner, but if he teaches others, the left are screwed. So he talks about Trump's base as point number one. The second point. The second front he's winning on, he says, is the continuing love fest that his devout base has with him. While polls show that his overall approval numbers consistently wallow under 40%, buried in the polling fine print is the numbers that mean the most to him in the GOP. That's Republican voters, the overwhelming majority of whom back him. Even though his approval rating has dropped among white males without a college degree and college evangelicals, that's what he says, polls show that he still gets a majority of approval from them. These are the voters the GOP are going to need to rev up the key swing districts in 2018. Now, here's what he's admitting. This is an amazing admission. He says the polls don't matter when it comes to President Trump's support. He realizes that the president pulls the GOP establishment along in the riptide of his popularity, and he does this in the most unique way for politicians, which means he can't lose. He accomplishes things. And in his final thing, he says that the third winning front for Trump is his perennial ace in the hole. Get this, the media. He remains a ratings cash cow for the networks, makes stunning copy for print media. He knew from day one his presidential bid, and he knows it even more now. He will continue to suck the media air out of everything that the Democrats do and try to do. This has been his patent ploy, distract and deflect. I got to cut it short a little bit because I'm running out of time, but here's what I'm telling you, folks. The spate of fake news that's happened in the past week and from multiple outlets, all the apologies, etc. He's seeing this as this gives nothing but ammunition to Donald Trump, and this guy is telling you right now every single thing that Donald Trump tries, he's winning on. And this vexes the left because there's nothing they can do about it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.